Hi, this is Roman at Riot Audio. I'm super excited to tell you about Industry, our latest virtual instrument. With 400 cinematic presets and 180 unique sound sources ranging from gritty synths to the engine sounds of a paint shop, Industry is our biggest release so far. It covers a huge amount of ground in terms of the sounds it can produce, from pulses, pads and atmospheres, to keys, mallets, basses and risers. As the name suggests, there's a bit of a gritty, mechanical or industrial flavour to all of this. So let's dive right in. On the main page, you'll see the three layers A, B and C with level meters, gain and source type icons as well as a master section. Like another of our instruments, Candyfloss, Industry is a three-layer instrument built a bit like a classic three-oscillator synth. But as this runs in Kontakt, which is sample-based, instead of oscillators you can select from a large pool of samples for each layer. To make it easier to come up with new usable sounds, the sound sources are grouped into 7 groups: basic synths, complex synths, engines, tonal granular samples, loops, non-tonal granular samples and noise. Each of these categories has a particular function and properties which can be used to quickly come up with new sound combinations for specific purposes. In the basic synth category, we've got the classic building blocks of synth sound design: sine, triangle, saw and pulse waves in single and multiple voices, as well as some transitioning samples which evolve from one type to another over time. In the complex synth category, there are more elaborate synth sounds, often with gritty machine-like or mechanical flavors. In the engine category are samples recorded from a variety of small consumer items, like a power drill and electrical toothbrush, as well as larger industrial machines, a commercial chipping machine, for example. The tonal granular samples consist of metal, stone and other man-made materials processed in granular ways for a uniform, pad-like shape. The loops are non-tonal, percussive or noise-based samples recorded using large metal surfaces, oil drums, wheelbarrows and other non-standard resonance sources. The non-tonal granular samples are processed samples of mechanical sounds. And in the noise category are a variety of non-tonal noise sounds from either sampled or synthesized sources such as air conditioner hum, white noise and so on. The way these categories of sound interact and complement each other is key. One way to approach designing a patch is to take one sound each from a different category. For example, a basic synth sound for a steady clear tonal bass, a granular sound for some diffuse mid-frequency froth, and a noise sample for some grit and high-frequency fuzz that sticks out above the other layers and gives definition to the overall sound. Or you could take 3 sounds from just one category, for example, complex synths, and process them in different ways in the engine to bounce off and complement each other. Or any other combination you like, really. There are 5.8 million possibilities, so you're unlikely to run out of new options anytime soon. Now here's a cool thing, the intelligent randomizer function, which respects the sound categories. So if you've, for example, got a patch with a complex synth, granular and loop sound each, and a certain envelope that you like, you can very quickly get another combination of sounds from within the same categories that will work in a similar way by just hitting randomize. By the way, you can of course choose to use any number of layers, 1, 2 or 3 at a time. Let me tell you about the second page, the layer settings page. Here we've got controls for morphing and movement. Morphing is a great way to build slow or fast evolutions into your patches. It uses envelopes for various types of parameters, including low, high and bandpass filters, as well as formant filter, distortion and pitch. You can set timings and amount here for a range of different results. You can also change the direction of travel for the morphing parameter, and use the hold switch to toggle whether it morphs back to the original value or stays at the target value. For the pitch morphing effect, you can also choose whether to start or end up on the pressed key. Movement is essentially an LFO section with 4 shapes: sine, square, ramp and random. These shapes can be assigned to 6 different parameters, including filters, distortion, volume, phasor and pitch. This is quite a powerful section, and you can get it to do anything from vibrato, stutter pulses, to glitch effects, and many others. For each layer, we've also got ADSR envelope controls, as well as sample start selection and octave control, which is great if you want to dial in an organ-like multi-octave sound. We've also got low or high pass filters for each layer independently, which is very useful if you want to isolate a part of the frequency spectrum from one of the sounds. Now let's say you want to carry across parameters between the different layers because you want the same movement shape to apply to them. That's what this link switch is there for. When you've turned it on for a section of the layer setting page, the layer that it's turned on for will be linked to the A layer. You can modify the parameters on either layer and both will change at the same time. Lastly, we've got an effects page with 3 types of saturation: tape, tube and transistor. Some instrument level filters, delay, reverb, and 3-band EQ. The master section has a dynamic fader, which is by default mapped onto a custom control we're calling Edge, and controlled by your mod wheel or CC1. What we're calling Edge is a combination of compression, some EQ emphasis of mid-high frequencies, and some gentle saturation. You can also choose to have volume and expression mapped onto the master dynamic fader, or alternatively, you can leave them mapped to velocity. There are also panning and master volume controls in the master section, as well as a simple one-knob compressor. In terms of presets, we've got atmospheres, basses, keys, mallets, pads, tonal and non-tonal pulses, as well as risers. Industry is fully supported for NKS. If you have a Native Instruments Complete Control keyboard, you have full hands-on control of the instrument using the built-in display and parameter controls on the keyboard. This makes Industry accessible to blind and visually impaired musicians. Industry is compatible with the free Kontakt Player with activation through native access, i.e. you can use the library without purchasing any additional software. You can download Kontakt Player from the Native Instruments website.
Thank you for watching. That's all from me about Industry for now.